Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, SaraBanta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. I believe your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself, regardless of what chronic disease you may have. I'm here for you to answer your questions, bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. Today, I have a real treat for you guys. My guest will be igniting the women in your life and how to optimize relationships personally and in business. Optimizing relationships starts with optimizing you in body, mind, and spirit. And if your physical body is functioning at a low level, it's hard to have the energy mentally to raise your frequency or vibration and heal yourself, whether it's overcoming anxiety, depression, losing weight, detoxing the body in the proper way, and even increasing that level of frequency in your life. You need a strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in life. If you are new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at SaraBantaHealth.com. Accelerated Health Products is the sponsor of this show. So as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to this show. First, I want to talk about some tools that you can use to help with your mental health, physical health, and living your best life. And the goal is to improve your mitochondrial health. So we're getting down to the cells, you guys, because it all starts with our cells, and increase energy at that cellular level. So the neurons are firing in your brain and body, and we're actually reversing age in body, mind, and spirit. So supplement number 1 is the reason I started my business. It started with the diagnosis of leukemia for my 9-year-old son. And this is the accelerated scalar silver. This is not like any other silver out there. It's enhancing your immune system's ability to devitalize foreign pathogens, including viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites. And if your immune system is bombarded with fighting foreign pathogens, it can't simultaneously engage in those anti-aging mechanisms or autoimmune issues. So by keeping your immune system strong, the body's engaging in anti-inflammatory processes, leading to an optimal state of health. And back to my son, now almost 20 years old, hasn't been sick in those last 10 years. There's no sign of other chronic issues, not missed a day of school, him or my 2 other daughters. And same with my husband, same with myself. So it really does do the job. Next is accelerated keto. And this supplement flips you into that fat burning mode within 30 minutes, and your body taps into its own fat stores for energy right away. This is the supplement that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I can finally do this. I can do whatever someone asks me to do, whether it's a job at work, whether it's dieting or intermittent fasting. You have that mental and physical energy that's endless. And you combine that with intermittent fasting, a low carb diet, you are starting to produce a lot more ATP in the mitochondria, and mitochondrial biogenesis is optimized. And unlike any other keto supplement, accelerated keto breaks down the saturated fats into unsaturated fats. And these unsaturated fats are easier for the body to utilize and to convert into ketones. So you have this second source of energy beyond the ketones from the accelerated keto. I hope that makes sense. Also, the accelerated keto is able to defat the liver as well. And we all know that I love my liver. It's really important to keep that liver functioning because of all the toxins we're bombarded with. And the liver is where conversion happens of fat into more ketones. The more a person's liver is defatted and unclogged, the easier it is for it to function, including the breakdown of fat molecules, including increasing mitochondrial biogenesis, increasing the conversion of thyroid hormones from the inactive into the active, increases that metabolism, the thyroid health, helps with Hashimoto's, which everyone is suffering from right now, it feels like, and detoxing from the bad estrogens in the body. I talk about estrogen dominance right now. This is a big issue with men and women, and the liver is a big part of that problem. So you want to keep your liver clean. There's other ingredients in the supplement that burn fat at a higher level, that increase digestive health, and really just turn things on and helps prevent muscle wasting, which for most of you who are over the age of 40, we all know that muscle, it's hard to keep on the body, and it's really important for longevity. So with the accelerated keto, when you add in that accelerated iodine, your ATP production skyrockets. And iodine is not just for the thyroid. Iodine is needed for every single 100 trillion cells in the body. The number one reason for mitochondrial failure is iodine deficiency. Thyroid hormones must attach to mitochondria, and mitochondria, as well as the nucleus of the cell, have thyroid hormone receptors. Most practitioners don't even know that. It's really important. Intracellular iodine produces energy. Extracellular iodine is an antioxidant, anti-allergenic, detoxifying, autoimmune suppressing, and it starts that apoptosis, which is the natural death of cells that we need out of our body, the damaged and diseased cells. It increases ATP production by 18 times. Just on its own. So when you combine that with the accelerated keto and the accelerated silver and some of the other things in my protocol, that ATP production skyrockets. The synergy is amazing. So in addition to that, you use the accelerated ancient salt, which just like the accelerated silver and the accelerated, the salt is scalar enhanced with frequencies to increase its efficacy, and it has over 62 minerals. It's needed to help with digestion, break down fats, detoxification. It also pulls out those toxins and parasites that we have a hard time detoxing from. So it's really important to use that salt for real cellular hydration. And of course, it tastes amazing. You won't want to use any other salt. In addition to some of the supplements, you can also use some stem cell patches like the Energy Enhancer patch that increases ATP production, increases caloric burn by 300 calories a day, but it helps with cellular health down to the cells. Remember, our energy at the cellular level, when that goes up, our mental health, our physical health, and all of our energy increases. And we're going to be talking more with our guests about how to improve our relationships. Well, how do you have any sort of good relationship when you don't have the physical or mental energy? You can also use the X49 patch, which is known to burn belly fat, increase muscle mass, help with hair growth, also may protect you from all this Wi-Fi and radiation that we're being exposed to. And the X39 patch helps reset over 4,000 genes, so you literally are reverse aging. And that is my goal. I'm not about anti-aging anymore. I'm all about reverse aging. At the age of 46, I'm hoping to keep up with my kids till the day I die. So I give more tips and tools through my free group coaching on Telegram. You can join with the link below or email me through the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other, and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Now to the good stuff. Simon T. Bailey is the author of Ignite the Power of Women in Your Life. My goodness, do I love this. A Guide for Men, the book destined to spark a worldwide movement. In fact, Simon is committed to a life of purpose that sparks individuals and organizations to lead countries, companies, and communities differently. This current mission caps an illustrious career as a Hall of Fame keynote speaker and renowned advisor to companies in diverse industries. His framework is based on his 30 years of experience in the hospitality industry, including serving as a sales director for Disney Institute based at Walt Disney in Florida. Welcome, Simon. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's so good to be with you.
Gosh, just listening to some of the things that you have out there, I just got super excited. Like, oh my gosh, I could eat up every word that comes out of your mouth because it speaks the truth. And from someone who, if you had asked me, my 18-year-old self, Sara, what do you think you're going to be doing later in life? What if I told you you were going to be a podcaster, have a health business? I would have said, you're crazy. I am shy. I'm a type A personality, but that's not me. And I truly took my rock bottom and I turned it into my purpose in life. And I really want to start with you and your story and what you've learned over the years, because it truly is, not a rags to riches story so much as you followed your purpose. And I absolutely love that. Everything you do, you can tell that you have passion and you're just wanting to serve humanity.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. My story is simple. I was working at Disney. Disney sent me to Paris to design a leadership program for 1,000 leaders out of Barclays Bank out of London. And while I was there in Paris, I asked myself 3 questions. Number 1, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? Number 2, what would I do if no one paid me to do it? And number 3, what makes me come alive? And when I answered all 3 of those questions, that third one, what makes me come alive, is from the philosopher Howard Thurman, who says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, is because what the world needs are people who come alive. And Sara, when I answered those questions, it was like the 4th of July fireworks went off inside of me internally. And for the last 19 to 20 years, I wake up every single day to hug people with my words.
Oh my goodness. I love that. And with that, I mean, that's where you find your purpose and you come alive. I feel like now there's this big separation in our world. There's a lot of people waking up, and then there's a lot of people that are just kind of more deep in their rut and mentally depressed and full of anxiety and having a hard time getting out of bed. So what do you say to somebody that is stuck in that rut?
Yeah, to everyone that's stuck, first of all, realize this is just a temporary situation. And how do you begin to get up and look through the windshield of where you're going instead of the rear view mirror of where you've been? So here's something practical that you can do. Take your phone out, set it to 30 seconds, got a sheet of paper, and when I say go, write down on that sheet of paper everything that's right about you. Because sometimes we focus on what's wrong, right? And so literally you'll hit the timer at 30 seconds and write every word that comes to mind. And it's not so necessarily writing down a quantity of words, but it's writing down the quality of who you really are at the core. When the timer stops, I want to invite you to look at everything that you wrote down about you. This is the making of the story of where you're going instead of where you've been and where you currently are. That's just one step to get unstuck.
And what happens with someone? I mean, this is where I feel like people get stuck, is things don't start going their way and then they fight it, right? They're
Yes.
going upstream and they're not with the flow. And I know that, you know, with my story, it was, okay, what am I going to do with this? And every day I use it in my parenting, and we're going to be talking about relationships and how men can support women, but this applies to all sorts of relationships. When my kids go through something tough, I say, okay, I'm so excited right now because I don't know what God's going to do with this experience, because you grow in the tough times. You don't grow when life is easy and when life is giving you everything that you're wanting, right? And so take us through some of the key points of how you help a person find their purpose in life.
Yeah, it really starts with, how do you examine the thoughts that you are thinking? Because thoughts carry energy and thoughts create words, and words cause you to move forward in your future. So I have to, number one, start with my thoughts. Secondly, what are my beliefs? Because thoughts become beliefs. How do you really examine your belief system? For me, as a person of faith, how my thoughts are aligned is very simple. Without God, I'm nothing. Without God, I would fail. Without God, I would be like a ship without a sail. So my thoughts and my beliefs bring me back to, what do I really see that's going on in my world? And then the third thing is, once you understand your beliefs, what are your actions? What are those next steps that you take that really say, you know what? I have a choice to make daily. I can stand here and pout. I can moan and groan, which will literally shut down my energy and my health from the inside out. Or I could choose to believe that in taking this next step, picking up the phone, making a call, reaching out to someone, that one decision can literally transform my life. So, what are my thoughts? What are my beliefs? What are my actions? The fourth thing is, once I understand my actions then become a behavior. So, how am I behaving my way into a better future? And then the fifth thing to consider is, once I understand my behavior, that behavior becomes a habit, and habits create the future.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I want to start getting into the book. And I know it's about how men can support women. And I want everyone to think through this, because as Simon, you're talking, I believe that this really, if you know, it really addresses how you have any relationship, and all the people in your life. And so, number one, why did you write this book?
I wrote the book for individuals who have been defeated by divorce, drowning in debt, and literally believe that there was no future for them. And I wanted to just come alongside and say that a setback is a setup for a comeback. Uh, I wrote the book for individuals who really begin to realize that if this planet, if this world is going to become better, how do we celebrate rather than tolerate the power of women? How do we understand and respect women? And then I think the third reason I wrote the book is just from a therapeutic standpoint. I was going to therapy, and no man wants to go and see a therapist named Anita, who's been practicing for 40 years and has more degrees than a thermostat. And Sara, Anita said to me, whatever you don't deal with will eventually deal with you. And what I recognize is, I wrote the book to come alongside individuals to understand, when I really honor the women in my life and really understand and listen, not just hear, I become better and we become better together.
And why don't you talk about why men are afraid to open up? Does the ego get involved? Why is it so hard for men to become vulnerable?
I think the first thing that I've discovered is that if I become vulnerable, my ego takes a hit, and ego stands for edge greatness out. If I really become vulnerable, will I lose my man card? Will I be seen as less masculine? If I really become vulnerable, where is that going to get me long term? And how do I recognize it's in the vulnerability as a man that I actually built more truth and trust in a relationship with a woman? Because now she really wants to help me grow and become all I possibly can be. So, vulnerability is a gift, it's an opportunity to build a better relationship with yourself and another.
And if a woman is supporting you after you have given yourself that vulnerability, then it's going to in turn increase your manhood, increase your confidence. And, I talk a lot about hormones and the physical body. And Dr. John Gray will talk about the fact that the relationship between man and woman can boost testosterone or boost the female hormones and put a man on their female or the male side. And what's so amazing about what you're saying is as a man becomes more vulnerable, the woman is supporting him, making him feel more like a man, increasing his testosterone. So there you go. And you get everybody wins, right? Everybody
Everybody
wins.
wins, totally. And think about it, a man has come out of a woman with a womb. And when I've come out of the womb with of a woman, you can give a woman a sentence and she will give you a paragraph because she has been wired to birth what is in the man. So in other words, the man cannot know himself by himself until he comes into a whole relationship with a woman. And when he comes into a whole relationship, WHOLE, she has the ability to heal the whole, HOLE, in his soul because he is yielded to being vulnerable and being honest with her in that moment.
Ah, I love this. So let's take that um, equation, essentially, as you're talking about it more on a personal level, a personal relationship with men and women. What about in business? What about supporting the women in your life business wise? As an entrepreneur, I'm obviously a female and I know so many strong women. And this is where we get confused in society today, where what is the feminist movement? What is it, and how are women tearing women down? And are they competing against each other and they're fighting over here, but really they're just not getting the support from men, and maybe that's causing the issues with the women. So why don't you talk a little bit more about supporting the women in the professional sense?
Number one, when you support a woman in a professional sense, you are coming from a place of an abundant mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. When you support a woman in business, you're simply saying that there's enough pie to go around for everyone. And when I share, I don't lose, we gain together. That's number one. Number two, sisters have to help sisters because when you help another, here's what the research says according to Emory University. When we help someone else, the reward centers in our brain begin to light up almost as if we have been on this receiving end of what we have just done to help another. And they call it the helper's high. So when we truly understand how to come from an abundant mindset, when I help you, I recognize that visibility creates credibility. How do we begin to help women in business level up now more than ever before? But here's the third thing that I think is so powerful, Sara. When you help a woman in business, she's going to make sure that everybody benefits, that everybody moves forward, and no one is stuck or they have to do without, because you understand when you give away what you want to attract, you become bigger. It's this whole law of reciprocity. What goes around comes around. So I believe this is the greatest time for women in business, women in entrepreneurship, to understand how do we help bring everybody together.
Absolutely. I agree as far as It doesn't, there's plenty. There's plenty in this world. And we right now are being divided and put up against each other, showing that you can fight over nothing when when there rarely is no scarcity. God provides, right?
Yes.
And the more we work together, the more we are living out our purpose, the more abundant life will be for everybody. And that sounds, a little woo-woo to maybe some, or that's really optimistic, Sara, especially in this world we're living in. But try it. Why don't you try it and see how it works out for you? With me and my business, it was always like, I don't know where this is going to go. I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other and do my purpose and trust and have faith. And on a daily, every morning I wake up, God's provided. I have great work, great people, great clients. And I can try to cut out all the noise in this world that a lot of other people want you to be drowned down by. So what I love when you had mentioned is not deja vu, but the opposite. Can you please explain that?
Yes. So deja vu, as we know, is been there, done that. But vujade is going there, doing that. The vujade mindset simply says when everyone zigs, let's zag. So practical example, when you look at the iPhone, when the iPhone was first introduced in 2007, it wasn't the first smartphone that was on the market. There were many smartphones on the market. But what Apple decided to do in the spirit of vujade, they put apps into the phone. And the apps became that point of differentiation that separated Apple from everyone else. Now, think with me just for a moment. From 2007 to 2019, Apple introduced 18 upgrades to the phone. So if we do some quick math, 12 times 12 is 144. So that means 144 divided by 18 upgrades means every 8 months, Apple was implementing vujade. They were not resting on their past results, but they created more storage, a better camera, more functionality. And so what that simply means to us in business is how do we ensure that we're not being stagnant and holding on to the way things were yesterday, but constantly saying, how do we upgrade our relationships, our thinking, what we bring to the market, how we serve our customers, and how do we take that feedback and information to ensure that we are not just satisfied, but we are living with a vujade mindset that truly is that insurrectionist or that person that says, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm not going to do it the way everyone else does it.
I love it. And I always say, I really have a hard time being around people without a growth mindset and without the humility of saying, I know a lot, but I really have so much more to learn. And where is this going to take me? And I can't wait to learn more tomorrow. And that's what I do with my business and my clients. I learn from them every day. They thank me for the way I help them. However, I'm thanking them on a daily basis because some of their questions are like, oh gosh, I need to learn more about that. I'm going to dive into this topic so that I can serve them more. And they don't realize how they're serving me in return. And it's just this amazing relationship where you push each other and you keep pushing each other further and further to each other's, purpose in life. So Simon, we're going to take a short commercial break and we will be right back. Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio. We're here with Simon T. Bailey. Simon, I want to ask you, as I am definitely focused on physical and mental health, what can men do to focus on their well-being and mental health? Because they need to take care of them in order to have a healthy relationship and be available to the women in their life.
Wow, I would say the first thing to all men, if you have not seen a licensed practitioner as it relates to therapy, it could be helpful. It could be a first step. And that's something that I did. So I recommend this from a place of this is what has really worked for me. I think the second thing is to understand that health is wealth. So when is the last time you've really did an assessment to really look at your eating, your sleeping, your dieting, all of those things that we have been taught to do? I had to do this in my own life because I recognized that I had highs and lows, and my energy would be depleted. And that energy would create a negative attitude, which showed up in the relationship because I was just not healthy on the inside. And so that was really where I started, with my journey. And I went to the doctor, and my A1C was totally out of whack. So I really had to look at the carbs that I was eating. I love like French fries and apple pie a la mode and red velvet cake. And I had to let some things go, Sarah. So I would say to men, what are you doing to really look at what's going in on the inside? And I think the third thing to think about, who are the men in your life that challenge you to be a better man? Sometimes you can be married, but you associate with men who are not marriage minded, and their energy rubs off on how you show up in your relationship with your wife, because women don't want to be controlled. They want to be understood. And the way you really understand a woman is by looking yourself in the mirror to say, how do I shift from loving to cherishing her? And how I cherish her is by examining how I'm showing up for her.
Can you dive deeper into that? I love that. And it's to cherish the woman, to really understand them. Can you dive into that a little more?
Yeah, so many times where I struggled is my method of loving my then spouse, who I was married to for 25 years, and our children, was I put food on the table. I provide you a wonderful home in a gated community. Our kids go to private school, blah, blah, blah. And in that external way of loving, I thought that was all that she needed. And where I dropped the ball is she wanted to be cherished by in having a conversation to double click and say, here's what I heard you say. Is this what you meant? Tell me more. But I was emotionally unavailable. When you really cherish a woman, you listen beyond the words, you listen between the sentences, you begin to use your intuitive intelligence to say, I need to understand you, and I'm not quite getting you. And obviously, it's when I cherish you, I'm releasing the need to be right, and I'm becoming open to what wants to emerge. So when I move from love to cherishing, I realize I don't have to win every battle. I can understand that when I step back and cherish you, I'll ask you about your dreams, your aspirations. How can I support you instead of you always supporting me? When a man really cherishes a woman, you move from me to we. And it's in that we-ness where you begin to understand we move into intimacy, in to me, see, because I cherish you without having a need to control you.
So that all sounds great for all the women that are listening right now. And the women are sitting here going, okay, Simon, how do I get my husband to do what you're saying?
Wow. Okay, so now we open up the deeper conversation. It's not about getting your husband to do what I've just teed up. It's about understanding how to, number one, how is your husband wired? How does he learn? How does he intake information? Is he visual? Is he auditory? Is he hands on? And communicating to him in such a way that lets him know that you get him. That's the first thing. The second thing is men want to be respected and honored. How do you begin to look at what your husband is doing in the world of work or business? Because that's where a lot of men get their accolades from, right? And become interested in his world. If it's sports, business, coming alongside him to say, whoa, you want to know about this? Because now it's opening him up to lower his defenses, to lean in and trust more, because she truly understands that every man has a need, a want, a style, and an emotion. And if you're going to point that man towards true north of where we can go, we have to understand what makes him tick. But then the third thing is every man is wired a certain way. I'm a socialized introvert. I know you can't believe that, but I am. And so for me, I need my quiet time and I cherish that. When a woman really understands that in that quiet time, that man is processing, how do you honor that? And then pick the right moment to just drop a little word of encouragement or hope because you get him. It's another sign of him saying, whoa, I want to open up and do whatever she needs for me to do. So, women listening to me, it's creating a surround sound of how you engage the head, the heart, and the hands of a man.
So we're all listening, and that sounds great. And it's okay. So what are we going to do? We have in our mind what we're going to do. But we're married over 20, 30 years. And you talk about, you make the statement, it's not gone, that excitement, the romantic love. It's just buried right under all of life's mess. So how do we get that back?
Go back to day one. The first day when you first connected and you felt that tingling in your belly, you knew that this was special. That day one, what did you do? What did you say? Did you write a letter? Did you write a note? Did you send a text? Did you send each other a video? What did you do to spark that love? Go back to day one and find one thing that you haven't done in a while that might be, whoa, where did that just come from? So, for instance, if your spouse travels, either one, what would it be like to pick them up at the airport, have a bouquet of flowers or whatever they like, and say, guess what? We're not going home. I have a surprise for you. Go back to day one. The second thing to think about, and I'm a little old fashioned, what would it be like to write on a Post-it note 26 attributes that is the first letter of the alphabet of something that you admire or appreciate about them. So the A for awesome, the B for bold, the C for courageous. And you take those Post-it notes and you put them in areas where you know that your spouse may go to throughout the day, throughout the afternoon or the evening. When they find that note, that little note shows your intention to cherish them. Go back to day one and find that thing that becomes the key that fits into the lock of their heart.
I love it. Well, you have talked to about, and you mentioned already, that every setback is a set up, whether it's in business or a relationship or anything really. Um, how do you apply that to a relationship with a man and a woman? They have a setback. They're going, Simon, as you know, over the last 2 years with COVID and everything that's gone on and being in lockdown, it's put a lot of stress on relationships, business and personal, in the home, even with moms and their kids that are zooming under their feet all day long and not going to school. All relationships have been stressed a little more. So how do you take that, especially in a man and a woman's relationship, that setback, the extra stress, maybe there's more divorce, maybe there's separation, and use that as a setup?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to give credit to my mentor, Willie Jolly, who actually coined that phrase, a setback is a setup for a comeback. I think the first thing that I would just recommend or suggest is how about if we just sit in a place of quietness and start with, here's what I appreciate and value about you in this moment. Yes, life has happened. Gas prices are high. There's a war going on in the world. We've got a lot of headwinds that could take us out. How do we truly celebrate each other for having each other? Number one. Number two, how do we begin to see this through the lens of a character building moment? How is this building character for the future? Number three, what are we modeling for our children or those who we influence? What do they gain by how we talk to each other? Are we talking to each other? Are we talking at each other? Are we having authentic listening or are we having selective hearing? Are we telling? Or are we truly asking? So how do we look at our whole approach to communication to say, if we're going to get through this together, how do we, and first of all, I bring everything back to prayer. How do we start from a place of prayer? But then secondly, how do we just take one step, one thing that we can do and move forward today and then build momentum each and every day by focusing on where we're going instead of where we've been.
I love it. I mean, you talk about change is inevitable, but what is that change going to be? And how are you going to optimize it, right?
Yes. Change is your friend, not your foe. Change is a brilliant opportunity to grow. So if change is inevitable after, as we've often heard, how do we realize that growth is optional? How do we grow together and to be better individuals?
And that also goes along with creating the story of tomorrow, where you are actually manifesting or are able to manifest what you want to happen. I talk to my kids all the time about how I wake up every morning and I know it's going to be an amazing day. I have a game plan. And the more I manifest and I lay in bed and I imagine my day, and a lot of times it goes beyond what my expectations are. Yeah, you have the hiccups and you have the other days, but they are much less when I'm a lot more intentional with my day. You talk about what to do in the morning and creating that extra 15 minutes in the morning. Can you explain?
Yes, so everyone listening to us, Sarah, I hope that they will write down 15-7-30-90. So I invite you to take the first 5 minutes of the day and just meditate. Just get quiet, calm your mind. The second 5 minutes to literally read or listen to something that inspires you. If you went to dictionary.com and typed in inspire, one of the entries that would pop up would say, to breathe life into. So that second 5 minutes to read or listen to something that breathes life into you. And then the third 5 minutes to stretch and get aligned with the day because your physiology has to line up with everything, right? So 15 minutes a day creates 7 days a week. 7 days a week creates 30 days. 30 days creates 90 days. So what I'm really saying, if health is wealth, is how did we get to this quarter? Reverse engineer. What have I been doing the last 30, 60, 90? How did you get there? What have I been doing the last 7 days? How did you get there? 15 minutes a day to work on the inside so that you can create manifestation on the outside. That 15 minutes a day causes you to release a vibration into the atmosphere, and the frequency of that vibration, because of honoring the 15 minutes, causes you to spiral up. Sometimes when people have not identified the 15 minutes and own it, it causes them to spiral down because of the vibration. So how do we really manage that 15 minutes a day in a 24-hour cycle?
Well, if people have been listening to me, they know that I'm all about increasing your frequency in life. And that is, it's all mental, physical, and spiritual health are all connected. And if your mental health is not there and you're stressed out, you're creating acid and oxidative stress physically and chronic disease. So you can be manifesting disease and sickness, but you can also be manifesting health and wellness and all of the positive things that you're talking about, and getting connected to God on a much higher level and increasing your frequency in life. Well, Simon, we have a couple more minutes. Is there anything that we did not touch on that you want to make sure we do?
I would encourage everyone to really think about what is one actionable thing that you can do for the person that you cherish in your life. How is it a kind word? Is it something that causes them to spiral up at a higher frequency? Whatever that is, go and do it, not because you have to, but because you want to.
Awesome. And your book, can you tell everybody, number one, where to find it, but also, is this book just for men or is it for women as well?
Yeah, we've already heard from a number of women all over the world that they have gotten more out of the book, and they've nudged their husband to get it as well. So it's for everyone. And you can go to ignitethepowerofwomen.com. Everything is listed there. We also have a 6-week e-course that with a facilitator's guide that people can really begin to operationalize this mindset into their lives.
And are you personally doing any coaching at this point?
You know what? We're actually coaching through the 6-week course. So there's video teaching of me. So the answer is yes, and it's at ignitethepowerofwomen.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Simon, for joining us today. I love the work you're doing. I love what you're embodying and how you've taken your own experience of essentially having that setback to help others and yourself move forward. So thank you for joining us. And everybody else, thank you for joining all of us today. And if I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me through the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Please check it out. It has a new layout, a fresh look of where you can find all of my health articles, my episodes, my podcasts, my group coaching, my monologues, which I really try to dive deep into health issues in body, mind, and spirit to really elevate your life and all the things that we've been talking about. I'm happy also to put together a personalized protocol for you. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and my YouTube channel, and over 100 different channels under Accelerated Health Radio and TV, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. If you like what you heard today, please comment below and hit the subscribe button. Share with a few of your friends who may need my help or Simon's. And you can join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. You can also find the supplements and many of the informational videos, like I mentioned, at SaraBantaHealth.com. As you support my website, I'm able to bring you this show and more amazing guests. Thanks for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio, and have a great week.